Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 6th day of May, 2019. Well, I hope everyone had a good weekend. It was lovely here on the high desert. Got a lot of work done out in the garden. I actually found some hops plants around here. Normally, I can't ever find them. These were in 1-gallon pots, and so they cost me a small fortune, but I don't care because they're huge. Mine that I planted in the medicinal herb garden, they're getting really. It takes a few years when they're brand new. I didn't plant them from seed, but I planted them from small starts, and so they're not like what I bought this weekend. I have some more to put in today, but basically, they're like, well, fully extended. I don't even know how tall they are. They're probably at least 4 feet tall. So they're gonna have a lot of hops on them, I think, this year. And I don't have to wait for them to figure out what they're doing. But the other ones, they're starting to come up in other places. I guess the rhizomes really reach on these things. And so they're starting to come up in other places. So I'm going to dig them up and I'm going to plant them along the fence line. And pretty soon I'll have a fence line of hops. Well, not pretty soon, but eventually. Hops are great, though, and not just for beer. I'm not actually a beer fan, so that's not why I grow them. I grow them because they're a nervine. They're also a digestive type of an herb. They're probably a liver alternative as well, given their bitter quality. But they keep everything going through the body. They're also good for pain. So if you've got arthritis or something, adding a few hops to your tea blend would be a good thing to do. Just to sort of keep the pain at bay. There's a reason people drink beer. I personally don't care for the taste of beer, so I've never been one that's liver-like. But we did have some blackberry wine yesterday that my husband made, and it was actually very good. So, and that's from our blackberries. We also yesterday started another batch of dandelion wine, so that was fun going out there and picking the dandelions. But then you have to pull the backs off of them. The first stuff we made, we didn't do that, but it tastes fine. It's not, they said, oh, if you don't pull that stuff off, it'll be bitter. Well, I don't think so. And I'm not sure why that would be true, because dandelion is kind of a sweet herb. Yeah, it's a liver alternative, so there is a bitter quality to it maybe, but it's actually got a really mild flavor to it, not like other herbs that are considered bitter. And when you hear bitter, that's not a bad thing. That just means it's going to start moving things through your system. It helps digestion and elimination and all of that. It helps bile production is what it does. So things like dandelion and nettle and stuff like that, it's really good for you. So you should be having that every day as part of your tea regimen. And if you're not doing one, you should be. I've heard that different chefs in Portland will go and harvest in people's yards because there's different restaurants in Portland. Portland's quirky, they got everything there, and the food is incredible. But I guess what I read this article a couple years ago where they're going and they're foraging in people's yards for their chickweed and their cleavers and whatever else that's growing, they might want to use in their cooking. So. You never know there, but don't even think of doing that in mine because I want all of it. It's like, no, you can't come in and get my red clover. No, you can't have my dandelion. I don't think that we're that inventive over here where I live, though. I think that's just in Portland. Portland, the saying is keep Portland weird. Yeah. I graduated from Portland State University back in 1978. Yeah, I graduated in 78. And there's nothing like downtown Portland. There just isn't. It is just a cool place. Although lately, you've got a lot of alt-right people that are there and are causing all kinds of hell. So I don't know. And I think they're doing it over in the Pearl District, which is really sad. It's an expensive area, but it's pretty, Well, all of Portland's pretty, though. It is. If you've never been, go. Seriously. like I said, the food is great. And I'm going to tell you now that the food carts alone in that city, man, you know, you don't even have to go to a restaurant to get quality food. Just go to a food cart. The food carts in Portland are insane. They're just insane. They're wonderful. So don't fear it. Portlanders like their weird food. So there you go. It's a great place. Well, let's get started. And I've got to go and hopefully pick up some giant horsetail here in less than an hour. So I'll get going here and get this done, and hopefully they have it. It came in today, and I don't know. I was told this weekend I'm going to get some giant horsetail in. Yay! I have little stuff. I don't have the big stuff, and I want the big stuff. So I'm going to go and buy it and plant it in my pond. I had to do the same thing with nettle because nettle doesn't grow here. Anyhow, let's get started. Yes, I will order seeds for what is considered to be invasive weeds, and I will plant them because I'm the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, yes, my filthy fingernails from digging. I was transplanting this morning before I started doing this. It's the way it's going to be all summer long now. My hands are going to be filthy, and there's nothing I can do. They get stained. I love the Queen of Pentacles. I love the queens in this deck. Well, in any deck, but I love her. But check out her throne. I love that. It's just beautiful. And you see her sitting underneath an archway of roses. She's holding a pentacle in her hand. She's not, I mean, you really don't know what her mood is. I mean, we could say it's pensive. Maybe she's just lost in thought. Maybe she's planning, you know, what she's going to do here for her kingdom. But basically, the Queen of Pentacles is grounded. She's quiet. She's generous. She's loving. She's kind. But she is a woman in authority, and she's going to establish how things are in her home. We think that it's the king that rules everything. Well, it isn't. The queen makes the king possible, always, always, in any setting. So, otherwise, the queen would leave, right? That's what queens do. They don't tolerate it. They're only going to wait so long for the king to get it together, and then they're either going to take command or they're going to go. Someone has to. But of all the queens, the Pentacles, I think, she's dynamic, but it's a quiet dynamic, you know? She really is about taking care of people and about taking care of the tribe and about taking care of her home and her family. Let's draw another card and see what she has to work with. You know, with the court, the thing about that is you really need another card to interact with. We can, because of their dual nature, you know, you're looking at both the individual on the card and the qualities therein. So without knowing, it's like, okay, she's kind, she's generous, she's sitting there. What is she doing and why? So let's draw another card and find out. Well, I'm not sure where I'm going to put her, if I'll put her first. But here we have the Knight of Cups. We see a young man dressed in battle attire holding a chalice. They're about to cross, he and his steed are about to cross what looks like just a small creek. I don't think that's a river. It just seems to be winding, you know, lazily through the area there against the backdrop of some red mountains. It looks like there's a something on the hill over there on the top of that rocky. It could be a piece of the castle. It likely is. A knight denotes swiftness. You can see the wings coming off of his helmet, but you see the visor is up, so he's not in battle mode. This particular knight is generous. He's loving. Cups is about our emotions, whereas Pentacles is about our practical issues and our form and our money, our security, our financial security. home and hearth. Cups, on the other hand, is about emotions. And so you see the water there at the bottom, and you're looking at change. Water denotes change, and so there's a little bit of change here in this. But basically, what he's doing is he's offering. It's like he's offering compassion. He's offering connectedness. He's offering something of himself to others with this particular card. But I want to look and just make sure that I'm not missing something with this particular guy. Yeah, they're chivalrous, they're romantic. Oh, yeah, they can be passionate and a visionary, but they can also be ruthless. The thing about emotions when they're not in balance is that sometimes they're capable of passive aggressive behavior. So we call that secret violence. As a matter of fact, if you're a Scorpio, Scorpios are known for secret violence, where they do things and they do them behind the scenes, and they do them very quietly, and they create change in a way that isn't necessarily good. So, however, if in a positive sense, they could be the guy that's working behind the scenes to make something better happen. So, but that isn't what always happens with Scorpio. So whenever I see the Knight of Cups, I think Scorpio, whether it's related to that or not. And it could be, though. But basically, the steed is beginning to take a step. So it does denote movement. So basically what we have here, the Knight of Cups himself would be thought of as the knight that's on the Grail quest, more so than any of the other knights. So is he going on a Grail quest on behalf of his queen? Seems like on Game of Thrones, nobody can figure out who the queen's going to be. My money's on Arya, but either that or Bran. Maybe Bran. Maybe Bran should be the king of the Seven Kingdoms. I don't think it should be Cersei, though. She's just too smug. She's just too smug. I don't like Cersei. I've never been fond of vicious people. Let's do the third card, though. Because if I get another court card, I'm going to have to do a fourth card. Well, okay. Here we have the Five of Pentacles. So again, we have foundational concerns, money. Here, though, what we have are two people walking against the wind in the snow. They're battered and bruised and injured. Behind them is what looks like a church. You see the stained glass window in the background. Obviously, we have a 5 here. It's the 5 of Pentacles, so change. Something awful has happened, destitution perhaps. They've lost everything perhaps. But there is help there if they would just look over. But they're very wrapped up in their own pain and in their own misery. And basically all we know numerologically right now, I'm going to do a fourth card. All we know numerologically right now is that some change has happened. We start out with Pentacles and we come to Pentacles. So there's a predominance then of concern over physical matters. Perhaps our financial security is an issue today. And we need to go out onto some kind of a grail quest to find something else that's going to improve that. But clearly there's emotional concern here. But there's some movement on it. So I don't know. I'm going to do a fourth card because I'm not even sure where to place these cards in terms of an order. Unless there's some issues at home or with our financial security. or something about our material security or material possessions, because he or she has everything and they have nothing, and he's going off to find something. We had this one last week, the Eight of Wands, and here we have many things coming in on us. Don't we? A lot of will. Perhaps the Wands is about the fire element. The one that is missing here, though, is air, isn't it? So our intellect is not depicted in this reading. I think we're going to put the Knight of Cups at the end. But clearly, we've got some issues about our material security, or something about home. Lots of things going on, lots of burdens. Maybe this is at work. It could also be employment related. Lots of things going on. One thing that I think we had from last week, we had one of those days, I think it was on Tuesday, we had the end of one cycle and a new cycle of balanced energy exchange happening. But let me look at that. I didn't write down the other two. I did hear, though. Self and Society on Wednesday. Again, it was well, we started out on Thursday with the Three of Cups, then the Star, then the High Priestess. That was going within and finding balance. And again, manifesting our dreams. Mind, body, spirit alignment with Three of Cups. But here we're plagued by material concerns, too many burdens, too many things going on. But I don't think the Knight of Cups is suggesting that you just walk away from it and go have some fun today either. Because the Knight of Cups is about directionality, and it's about directionality with our emotions. So basically, if he's going to be a little bit solitary, maybe it's suggesting that if we're feeling emotional today, that we might want to take a little time out away from people and just sort of take a solitary approach to today, especially if things are really coming in on you. Because sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, but if you are, then if you've got a lot going on, you don't want a lot of people talking to you, because you have to find a way for your mind to settle and to be able to think logically and try to be organized and all of that, and try to figure out, okay, where am I going with all of this? Clearly, we have some either having to do with work or home. We have a little bit of loss maybe here, or maybe it's that we've got just so much going on that we cannot see that maybe help is available to us. That's in the 5, and that's where your biggest change is, I would say. But you have 8 and 5 is 13. So that's the master witch number, I say, that and 7. Well, if you're going to have 11, 22, and 33, you can have some witch numbers in there too, I think. But if you don't, if you do what every other numerologist does, you would reduce that to 4. Again, structure and foundation, letting things settle. Clearly, with the 8, we still have, I thought that we had the 8 of Wands last week. Yeah, we did on Wednesday. So we could still be struggling with some burdens this week, a lot of commitments, a lot of stuff going on. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily a bunch of people doing it to us. It just feels like there's just too much stuff that we've got to cope with. I mean, it is Monday, and so maybe things that you didn't finish on Friday are coming due today. Maybe things that you You overburdened yourself this weekend at the garden shops around, and now you've just got so much going on, you don't know what to do with yourself, like me. Um, and maybe the Knight of Cups is me going to get horsetailed in a little while, in about a half hour or so. So I don't know. That's interesting. Let's do the rune. The Queen of Pentacles also reminds me of taking stock, where you sit down and you try to think about what you have and be grateful for that. You know, we always tend to focus on all that we don't have, don't we? So if I need that, I need that. Or if you would just do this, I would be happy. Things like that. But here you have Laguz. Laguz is the 21st rune of the Elder Futhar. It's a water element rune. Kind of looks like a hook. It's useful when you're in trance work, when you're trying to call back your energy. You can chant Laguz, and you can visualize it as a hook, grabbing your energy and pulling it back to you. That's one thing you can do with Laguz. But the energy about Laguz is just to be easy and to let things flow, because if you don't, you're not going to react too well to this. We do need a little bit of direction, though, with it. The Knight is suggesting that. And maybe what it's really suggesting is that we'll be a little easy on ourselves today. Mondays are not easy for everyone. I think, it's the reluctant day. Some people, I don't know, I've known a handful of people in my life that love Mondays. I don't understand them. I don't dislike Mondays. I kind of like to be able to get back into things. But at the same time, it takes a little bit. And I think that, it makes sense that you don't schedule a whole bunch of stuff on Monday, trying to get it all done and trying to find the hours to do it. Sometimes you're just not ready for it. But yeah, I think that's really what we're talking about here. I'm just bothered by the Queen, I guess. I guess I feel like the Queen is kind of setting the tone for things here. And it's really where we're placing our focus. You see the difference there? What we have is a woman who's very settled in her life, and we have people that aren't. And then you add to that the many commitments, many burdens. Excuse me. 8 is about strength and about an even greater harmony. This is almost harmonious motion. You got this 4th one right here that's kind of straggling behind. Even progression. Maybe choose this one to deal with first. I don't know. Because it's because basically what it's telling us is that all of these things are important, almost the same level of importance. But they're also grouped into almost 4 groupings. If you keep the shorter one in its own group, then you've got a group of 3, a group of 2, and a group of 2. So it's almost like we're being distracted here, there, there. We're being pulled in different directions. Even though it seems like it's all in front of us, it's like, which one do you look at? Which is more important? So I think in this moment where maybe we've got some really interesting things going on in our home life or in our work life, but I feel like the 8 is actually having to do with whatever is going on here. because you've got struggle, 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 and then you've got contentment, don't you? But is she? See, we don't know. We can't really see her face. We can't look her in the eye. So is this sadness? Is she sad over what's happening in her life? That maybe there's some struggling going on that maybe she didn't anticipate, maybe she didn't see coming. Maybe there's all of this going on. But maybe this is part of the solution. You get all of this in order, and then maybe it resolves this. Now, if we were to take and move this into another direction, we start with the Queen. We think everything's fine. Some things are coming in on us, resulting in some change. And so maybe we need to make another quest to maybe we're losing our job. Maybe your company is shutting down. Maybe you're one of those auto workers who's trying to figure out, I read just a caption, I'm 57, what do I do now? You know? Because this has changed too, isn't it, potentially? We don't know the outcome of that, do we? Yeah, okay, I think I'm more comfortable with the order now. We'll start with the Queen, we'll go to the 8, we'll go to the 5, and then we'll go to La Gouze, and then we'll go to the Knight. We could go La Gouze afterwards, though. We could do that after the Knight. I feel like this is, which was the one that we did, not last week, but the week before, where we started out with, I think it was the 10 of Cups or something. I don't know what it was, 9 or 10 of Cups, where we've got all of this, great life and everything is happy. And then the rest of the cards were all about breaking through illusion. So the illusion of that happiness, the illusion of that security. It just has the feeling of I need to go do something else to resolve whatever's happening here. But maybe we're still in the illusion. We're not quite ready to let go. And we're being reminded, well, excuse me, but there's a lot of things going on here. Pay attention, because the 8 of Wands is about pay attention to what's going on. And now here we have some loss that's going on. So either this is affecting us personally or we're aware of it somewhere. But there needs to be a new direction taken, perhaps. And that's where we come with the Knight of Cups. It's going to be emotional. Certainly, change always is. Never know how you're going to feel about it. We tend to fear change, and so maybe we are afraid of it for a little while until we see that it's really going to be either for the better or it's not so bad or whatever. But he's got his visor up, so he's walking into his future here, eyes open, isn't he? Offering compassion, offering love and joy. Not waiting to receive it, mind you, but manifesting it everywhere he goes. So you have to ask yourself, are you really just, have you just become too complacent and now all of a sudden things are being shaken up a little bit so that we make a decision? Well, let's see where the rest of the week goes, though, and let's see if it builds on this, or if perhaps whatever we can do to resolve whatever, physical concerns that are existing here, maybe we're able to resolve them by whatever decision and direction we take today. But what La Gouze is saying is just be a little easy about it. Do some allowing, respect your own feelings. And if you're not feeling like you want to do something, you're not feeling like you want to have a conversation with someone, or you're not feeling like you want to do this or that, then stand in your own power, use your own authority, and just quietly say, you know what, I'm not ready to do this today. I'd like to do it at another time. So there's that as well. in case you need to find your center before dealing with whatever is going on here. All I know is I think that the 8 may be what was the impetus to the 5. So while the Queen isn't paying attention, maybe lots of things are going on. Interesting. Or perhaps she's just trying to find some solutions here while all of this is going on. So if you're a person in authority, a woman, maybe you're trying to deal with a whole lot of stuff. Maybe you're a single mom and you're trying to deal with a lot of that. Maybe there's some change going on in your life. Maybe a spouse has died or you're getting a divorce or whatever. It just seems like she's having to deal with a lot of burdens here, with some change. Well, interesting. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow and see if we build on this. We've been doing that. The last 2 weeks, the readings have been building on one another each week. And it seemed like last week's was an extension of the week before. So we'll see. Hopefully, if we're having any issues like that we can get them quickly resolved so that we can get back into, maybe a little more, well, I don't want to say a little more positive framework because, dealing with problems is positive, and finding solutions typically makes things better. So I guess I don't want to judge it that way. But yeah, I guess that's it. I can't think of anything else. Nothing else is striking me here. Let me go back to the 5 here and make sure that I'm not missing something there. Because I keep looking back at the 5 going, oh my God, those poor people. Loneliness, dark night of the soul, concern, adversity, present moment solution. The solution is there just beyond those walls, isn't it? Where they can go in, they can get warm, maybe they can get something to eat. I think the message of today is don't close your eyes to what you have. You could have lots of support and lots of love if you would just reach out. Yeah, it's risky. You may feel like, oh, if I do that, I might get my hand slapped back, and no one's going to help me. There just seems to be a sadness with the Queen. I don't know. Maybe that's my own bias putting on there, but there just seems to be like she's just had to get away and think that there's just been so much coming in on her. There's been some loss that she's had to deal with. But I think she's ready to move in another direction. But it's not one where she's going to go out there and be really forward about it, or she's not going to use any Mars energy. In other words, she's going to be quiet about it, and she's going to make whatever decision she needs to make that's best for herself and for her family. Or if her family's no longer around her, then it's just for herself, and that's okay. Sometimes we have to do that. It's not easy when you're older. Being a woman, you have all kinds of fears about what's going to happen in your life if your spouse dies, or if something happens to the marriage or whatever. You're concerned about, well, what will happen to me? If you're not working anymore, if you're retired, if you need the income of the other person. I have a neighbor whose husband died a few years ago, and she's had to develop a new life. I think her daughter came and lived with her. She may still live with her, I don't know. But it's not easy when suddenly you find yourself alone. Normally, I would interpret the Queen of Pentacles this way, but given the 8 and the 5, I don't know. Maybe something has really happened in her life, and She's having to think about it and really come to terms with what's going on, and maybe making a new plan. The Knight of Cups suggests a new direction. And so, maybe you've just experienced something that's really difficult. And today's reading is just telling you to be as easy on yourself as you can possibly be if that's going on, and take it one step at a time. Don't make any decisions that you don't need to. And you may find that tomorrow you can think more clearly about things. And if not, then maybe it's the next day. But Laguz is suggesting, you know what? We just have to be calm and easy and flowing and non-reactive, and then we should be able to get through this. So yeah, that's what I think this is. So if any of you are going through something like that, many, many blessings to you. And it's not easy, I know. So anyhow, well, I guess that's it for today. Let's see how this goes tomorrow. I'm going to think about what this may have to do with the last 2 weeks. It may have nothing. It kind of feels new, kind of, maybe. I don't know. But let's see what we get tomorrow, and see if it relates to this. In any event, I hope not. I hope we turn a corner. I hope this is the last of this one, because this one feels just, iffy. So anyhow, I guess that's it. So check out the blog. I am going to write today. I'm not sure when. Over there at imsteppingaside.com. I'd love you to do that. Click subscribe there. Click subscribe here. I'd love you to do that. And come back. See what's going to happen tomorrow. Anyhow, thanks so much for coming by. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.